Hi everybody, welcome to Reader's Workshop today. So it's been a long weekend, so let's remember what we did last week. Last week you connected details that fit together to show a pattern in your character. And some of you found details that showed your character was careful. Some of you found details that showed your character was nervous. But you all looked for details about your character that helped you make a claim. It looked like this. You had two details that you fit together and a claim that you made at the bottom. So let's talk about today. Today, you are going to connect details using the story mountain. So let's remember the story mountain. Now remember, on the story mountain, you have the beginning where there are characters and a setting. And you've got a rising action where problems and conflicts start to arise. And then, of course, the turning point where things change. Your character has a moment or a changing point. And then the solution to the problem. So let's take a look at this important detail, keeping the story mountain in mind. Remember this detail? Don't worry, Ms. McCurdy told me, but I worried. This was really a big part of the story. Grace's worry was important because she was trying to find herself. But why is this detail important? I want you to think about this for a minute. Is it important because it's really about describing the characters and the setting? Is it important because it's part of the major problem or conflict? Is it the turning point? Or is it the solution to the problem? Pause the video and decide. Okay, let's take a look at the story arc. In your discussion, you may have put that note as the problem, the conflict, that Grace is really worried about finding herself. And so we can place that really important post-it note right on the story arc at the problem point. But because we're connecting details, let's look at another important detail. This one says, suddenly, like the last piece of a puzzle fitting into place, I realized something. I finally knew what I could do when I grew up. I could make books. And I marked that as really important. But why? Is it connected to the characters and the setting? Is it connected to the major problem or conflict? Is it the turning point? Or is it the solution to the problem? Again, pause the video and decide. You may have had a discussion where you weren't entirely sure where that post-it note fit. You may have had a little bit of a disagreement, and that's okay. This post-it note is an interesting detail because it's kind of a little bit of the turning point and the solution too. Because Grace realizes something, it's a little bit of the turning point, but it's also the solution to the problem where she finally realizes what she can do and what her talent is to make books. Now, remember our target? That you can connect details using the story mountain or the story arc. So if we're connecting these details, how's it going to look? Well, let's take a look. Here you have the connected details. You have the problem connected to the solution. We can put them both on the story arc and connect them with an arrow. We have connected the problem to the solution. Now, if you're working in your notebook, it might look like this, where you have two sticky notes that are labeled, one labeled as the problem and the other labeled as the solution. Now, we're not quite done because we haven't made the claim about how these details connect. Well, let's take a look at this claim. Here's what I've written. These details are connected because they show Grace's problem of not being able to find herself and the solution, when she realizes she can grow up to be a writer. My claim has explained how the details are connected. They're connected because they are the problem and the solution. Now, let's talk about your goal for today. Your goal is to look for important details that show a problem and a solution connection. We're being pretty specific here, but we want you to use the story mountain to connect problems to solutions. So give it a go for today and enjoy your reading.